Welcome everyone. I'm your Dave and you are watching Rabta. Today we have Councillor Suman Saha, MP Julia Finn and Dr. Yadu Singh on board with us with a community empowerment. This program specially designed at this time. We have a lot to struggle, lot to work together. And there is a lot support we need to do for community and get community does need some each other's support. So for that's why we hear our guests gonna talk about some positive stuff to how we gonna deal with it, how we win this all this hard situation. So first of all, welcome Suman. You want to say a few words?
Yeah, thank you, Dev Bhaji, for organizing this information session. It's also my great pleasure to join with Julia Finn MP and Dr. Yadu Singh. As you mentioned, I think it is hard for everyone. I mean, everyone is going through this difficult time, facing difficulties that certainly has brought to them and their life by COVID-19. But I think we all can work together and we will find a way out to overcome the situation we have currently in New South Wales.
Great. Now I would like to ask Mrs. Julia Finn to say a few words.
Thanks very much, Dave. This is a really important opportunity to just let everybody know what supports are out there and what they can do to help us all get on top of the awful COVID outbreak we've got in Sydney and New South Wales at the moment. People can feel quite helpless, but together, even though we can't come together, but if we all do the right thing and we all take the right steps, we can get through this. And there's certainly a lot of support out there, and I want to make sure everybody knows about the support that's available to them.
Thank you. And guys, before our health is important, and that's why we are at home, we're keeping ourselves healthy. So that's why we have Dr. Yadu Singh here for health advice. Dr. Yadu Singh.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, and a good day. Look, the COVID surge is due to Delta variant of COVID virus. This is more infectious, and no wonder that today we had 145 new cases from the community, and out of them, 76 were in the community while infectious. And only recently we had 2 deaths, one in Campbelltown Hospital and one in Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. The difficult part here is that the lady who died in RPA hospital was 38, did not have any risk factors, which basically indicates that this virus is nastier, affecting even younger people. And it is very important that we do everything to prevent us from getting infected. Remember, most of these 145 cases were either in southwest Sydney or in West Sydney, Cumberland Council area, Plendale Hill, Toongabbie, Blacktown, all these areas. So this really means that this is not about Fairfield. This is about whole Western Sydney. This is about whole Southwest Sydney. This is about us. This is the area where most of our people live. And therefore, we have to be involved in preventing ourselves and our family members and our friends and even distant connections from getting infected from this virus. It is very important that we do everything else.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Let me just start with the questions. We have short time, and there are a lot of questions might come online. People who are watching, they will be asking questions. But I will start with my first question with Councillor Suman Saha. Suman, how the local council working to help this vaccination rollout?
Okay. So firstly, the vaccination rollout or giving vaccine to Australians are a responsibility of the federal government. But here in New South Wales, the vaccination rollout is being done by the New South Wales Health. So in that respect, council actually don't have a direct responsibility of vaccine rolling out. But what we have done in Cumberland Council, as you probably know, that our venues and community facilities are not being used at this time because we're not having any community events. So we made those venues and facilities available to New South Wales Health. And I'm very very happy and proud to mention to all of you who are watching through your event, Debaji, that New South Wales Health are actually using some of our facilities and providing the walk-in COVID-19 vaccination clinic. And as of today, they have started today our community facilities in Holroyd Center, Christians Community Center, Elanese Community Center, and Guildford Community Center, and Ted Barge Hall, which is on 57 Centenary Road in Maryland, close to South Wentorville and very close to my ward of Wentorville as well. So I request all the residents of Wentorville and all the residents in Large Cumberland Council, please go and get yourself vaccinated. No booking is required for ages 40 and above, and GP referral is also not required. And get yourself vaccinated. I get myself vaccinated. I'm still fine, doing well, and I feel safe. And I think the way COVID-19 situation is evolving in New South Wales, and certainly in our neighborhood in Western Sydney, I think getting vaccinated is probably the only way we will be able to come out of this lockdown sooner.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Suman. And my next question to Julia, just regarding running a life, we need an income. So a lot of businesses, a lot of people, they lost their income. What sort of government support is available? Who the business is really struggling. The small businesses are really, they're in a very bad condition. What do you want to say about this?
Yeah, Dave, I agree completely. It's really hard for businesses and for everybody who's unable to work at the moment. I do think that the federal government should bring back JobKeeper. Both Chris Minns, the Labor leader, and Dominic Perrottet, the Liberal Treasurer in New South Wales, have both called for JobKeeper to be brought back. There is, though, assistance available. It's not as good as JobKeeper, and it's not as available to as many people as JobKeeper was, but it's still there, and people should be able to access it, and it will help them through. So if you lost more than 20 hours work a week, you're eligible for up to $600 in emergency payments from the federal government. And if you were part-time and if you lost between 8 and 20 hours a week, you can get between $325 and $375 a week. Obviously, that's very hard with meeting the needs of a Sydney mortgage. But the banks have also allowed everybody to defer their mortgage payments until after the end of lockdown. They're not deferring the interest, but they will actually be able to negotiate with anybody. So please speak to your bank if you're worried about being able to pay for your mortgage. One thing that is better than last year, the government in New South Wales is providing support for all tenants and all landlords. People can apply for up to $1,500 if the tenant has lost more than 25% of their income. The payment will go to the landlords, and it will help them to be able to pass through a reduction in rent for this period, which is really, really important. There's also a lot of supports available for businesses. There's grants for micro businesses of $1,500 a fortnight. There's also support for retail landlords or commercial landlords as well, for their tenants and for when their businesses who are their tenants are unable to trade. There's bigger grants available for larger businesses of between $7,500 and $15,000, depending on the loss of revenue for the business.
Exactly.
And all these things are available by applying to Service New South Wales. Some of them aren't up and running yet, but certainly the business support grants are, and they were available from last week. So they will make a bit of a difference, but we know that this is going to be really, really difficult for businesses. We weren't expecting the lockdown to last as long as it has, and the longer it goes, the more difficult it becomes. So the more and more that we do need JobKeeper. But there is support available, and I encourage everybody to take that up.
So wonderful. Thank you for the information. While I got you, so I'll ask my second question. The connection is really important. And These calls to Lifeline Australia is up 27%. People really emotionally going through a hard time. Like we need this time. We need our friends. We need our families. What do you want to say about this one?
Yeah, Dave, it's very sad. Calls to Lifeline are up 27%. And it's actually worse for people in Sydney than it was last year. And I think maybe that's because being a big international city from so many people from all around the world living here, we're starting to see the other side of the world where people are vaccinated. They're coming out of their lockdowns, just as we're going into the worst one we've had. So that is really challenging people because there's really no end in sight. But there is a lot available. The government, both state and federal government, have made a lot more funding available for a whole range of mental health support services, from Headspace to the Butterfly Foundation, which supports people with eating disorders, which we saw last year. Eating disorders got a lot worse when people were working from home and were isolated. But what we as individuals can do, we can really check in on our friends. We can't go around and visit them, but give them a call, particularly people you know who are isolated, particularly people whose families are overseas and they're the ones who've come to Australia. I know that it's really hard when people come here from India or from Nepal or other countries and their whole family is relying on them being successful and being able to make a lot of money to support people back home. And those people in particular, if they've lost work, I know that they feel a lot of weight on their shoulders to support family back home. So I really just encourage everyone to check in, to ask your friends if they're okay, and to make sure that support is still there. I know we all got a bit sick of Zoom and we don't really want to have Friday night drinks via Zoom that people did for about 2 weeks last year until they realised how boring it was. But we still do need to check in our friends. The longer this goes, the harder it gets for people who are isolated. And so I just encourage everyone to be the best friend they can.
No worries. Thank you, Julia. Thank you very much. This information, I hope, with pretty great information for everyone. Now I'm moving forward to Dr. YADU Singh. This question is basically, I would say, majority of the conversation regarding vaccine. People are confused about which one to take, which is the best one, which is the good one. I mean, they're individual. They don't have any medical background. People advising each other, which is they shouldn't. So, what you want to say? What is the as a health advisor? What is your advice regarding this vaccination? How to choose, or there is an option, or should we choose or not?
Well, I think COVID-19 Delta variant, as we know, that is infecting a lot of people, is very infectious. Even the fleeting contact is affecting them. What we can do is to follow the public health order. That's very important. Stay at home. Do not go out of your home unless you are one of those exceptions where you have to go there. The medical practitioner, to vaccine, to have the test, or to do grocery shopping, or if your work is such that you really have to go to work physically, not at home. So follow the public health orders. The one thing which really is the most effective is vaccination. I would say, and that's what everybody is saying. Kerry Chant has said, the federal health officer has said, get vaccinated. Whichever vaccine you can get hold of, whichever, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and whichever vaccine you can get hold of, please get vaccinated. Because every vaccine in Australia is doing one thing. That is to reduce the chance of you needing to go to ICU, needing to have ventilator treatment, or dying. 92 to 94% chance that you would not have that if you have vaccination. So it's very important that you book your vaccination through your GP or pharmacy or vaccination hub. And there are many. Go and get yourself vaccinated. Now, it's very important that there was a confusion created by ATAGI, Australian Technical Advisory Group for Immunization, and they said that if you are less than 60, you should preferably get Pfizer vaccine. It led to a lot of hesitancy about AstraZeneca, which is available in plenty of supply. We have plenty of AstraZeneca vaccine. It's a good vaccine. So after this drama happening, leading to the resistance for the hesitancy for the vaccine, I'm very happy to report that Saturday, 2 days ago, the ATAGI, the immunization group, has come out with the recommendation, guideline, advisory that if you are above 18, go for any vaccine you can get hold of, including AstraZeneca. So that hesitancy should disappear. Please go for vaccination. Anyone you can get hold of, AstraZeneca or Pfizer, they are safe vaccine and they are reducing your chance of needing to go to ICU, dying, or needing ventilator treatment. And that's what is most important. It's very important. Don't forget, young person died, 38-year-old, without risk factors. Please do that, get vaccinated, stay at home, and also get tested. Even minor symptoms, get tested for this virus. So get tested, get vaccinated, and of course, stay at home, because that is what the public health order tells us.
Thank you, Doctor. So, guys, as we heard from Dr. Yadu Singh, keeping ourselves healthy, this is more important. Than if we are healthy, then we are able to move our life ahead. Moving a life ahead, we're coming down to local council. Julia have already explained what sort of grants by the government has been provided, what sort of support you can get from the bank or from your local other providers. But what is the local community, like a council, doing for the local businesses and community? This is my question to Councillor Suman Saha.
Thank you, Listen, I will be, and I can only talk about what support Cumberland City Council is providing towards its community and business. At Cumberland Council, we have resolved that we will waive all unpaid outdoor dining and goods on display applications and licensing fees until 31st of December 2021. We have also resolved that Council will refund any booking that cannot go ahead due to the New South Wales Public Health Order for all our Council's sporting venues and facilities. Our childcare centers and our out-of-school hours care are operating or open as normal. We have also turned on the lights in our parks and ovals from dusk until 9 p.m. daily to allow extra time for exercising and to get some fresh air, because now a lot of people are working from home, and I understand that people are working till 5 o'clock, and after that, if they want to go outside to get some fresh air or exercising, they need to feel safe and they need to have lights. So in the Wentworthville area or in the Wentworthville ward, we have lights on the MJ Bennett Reserve at Westmead. And also I've been advocating to have our lights turned on our parks in the western part of the Cumberland City Council, say for example in Girraween. And I'm very, very happy and pleased to let you know that today I have been advised by the Council General Manager that from tomorrow, the lights on the Girraween Park will be switched on. So that's a big win for the Wentworthville and people they live in Girraween and Tungabi area. I have great concern for the current COVID-19 case that has evolved in Pendle Hill. And I am actually working with New South Wales Police and the community to get the COVID-19 message translated and making it available to the isolated and vulnerable communities.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Suman. I will talk to Julia because after that we're going to another session, continue this session in Hindi. So thank you, Julia, for your time again. It's really great information you have shared. Obviously, you're really doing well. Thank you very much for your time. We will continue the next session in Hindi with Dr. Yadu Singh and Councillor Suman Saha, just to make sure the message goes well with the community. So thank you very much for joining today.
No, thank you very much, Dave. It's a really great initiative, and it's really important for our community to know how to keep themselves safe, but how to also support one another through this. It's really challenging. Like, we've seen another 2 deaths today. It's tragic. It's really, really sad, and we want to do everything we can to make sure we don't have too much pressure on the hospitals, we don't have too many people getting sick, and we don't lose any more people. So thank you for the opportunity, Dave, but and thank you for the initiative of putting this on. It's really important information we need to get out to everybody.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, and now I'm coming with a more detail that as we going to start in Hindi. डॉक्टर यादव जी, मेरा सवाल है आपको कि कम्युनिटी की हम बात कर रहे थे कि there are pattern to get vaccinated. So you have explained very well. Vaccination is important regardless which one, regardless what you got available. To get in the roll out for everyone. अगर हमें आज बुकिंग करना है तो कहाँ पे बुकिंग करना है और कैसे करना है, प्राइवेटली जाना है या हॉस्पिटल जाना है, और सबसे बड़ी बात, जो लोग यहाँ पे परमानेंट नहीं हैं, जो लोग इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट हैं, विजिटर हैं, यहाँ पे हैं, उनके लिए उनको भी वहीं जीपी के पास जाना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज व्हेन दे गो टू जीपी they have to pay $50 or $100. तो इसका कोई सोल्यूशन है, कोई अदर ऑप्शन है इन सब लोगों के लिए?
देखिए मिस्टर सिद्धू, ऐसा है कि वैक्सीन जो भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया में है, चाहे वो स्टूडेंट हो, चाहे वो विजिटर हो, चाहे वो परमानेंट पीआर हो या सिटीजन हो, जो भी यहाँ पे है उन सब के लिए फ्री है। नंबर 1, उसमें कोई कॉस्ट नहीं है। जीपी की फीस की प्रॉब्लम है, मैं समझता हूं। इसके लिए, इससे बचने के लिए जो न्यू साउथ वेल्स हेल्थ की वेबसाइट है, वहां पे बुकिंग सिस्टम है। आप उस बुकिंग सिस्टम को यूज करिए और आपको उसका अपॉइंटमेंट मिल जाएगा। तो पैसे बचाने के लिए तरीका आपके पास है कि न्यू साउथ वेल्स हेल्थ की वेबसाइट में जाकर के आप बुकिंग सिस्टम में अपना बुकिंग करा दीजिए। दैट्स नंबर 1। लेकिन सबको जरूरी है, सबको, चाहे विद्यार्थी हो, चाहे वो विजिटर हो, चाहे वो पीआर हो, चाहे वो सिटीजन्स हो, चाहे वो रिफ्यूजी हो, जो भी है, चाहे इलीगल माइग्रेंट भी हो, चाहे वो जहां पे भी हो, यहां तक कि बेलापुर डिटेंशन सेंटर में भी हो, सबको वैक्सीन इस सरकार ने फ्री में दिया है। कृपया उसका प्रयोग करें और अपने स्वास्थ्य को बचाएं। याद रखिए, ये यही वायरस है, डेल्टा वायरस, जिसने इंडिया में तबाही मचाई थी आज से 2-3 महीने पहले। यही वायरस है ये, जहां पे इतना फैला था कि 4,30,000 के लोग डेली आ रहे थे इन्फेक्शन से। हमें वो नहीं चाहिए, हमको उससे बचना है, क्योंकि वो बहुत खतरनाक चीज है। इसलिए ना केवल आप पब्लिक हेल्थ ऑर्डर के आधार के जो नियम हैं उनको फॉलो करिए, विच मींस स्टे एट होम, ओनली बाहर जाइए जब आपको मजबूरी है, जैसे कि डॉक्टर के पास जाना है, वैक्सीन लगवाना है, टेस्ट करवाना है, ग्रोसरी खरीदना है, या आपका काम ऐसा है कि आपको ऑफिस जाना ही है, घर से काम नहीं कर सकते हैं। उनके अलावा आप घर में रहिए, और रिश्तेदारी और दावत और पार्टियां बिल्कुल नहीं। आप पार्क में जा सकते हैं, पूरी फैमिली को लेके जा सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। लेकिन अगर दोस्त के साथ में जा रहे हैं तो केवल एक दोस्त अलाउड है। देव सिद्धू एंड सुमन साहा कैन गो, देव सिद्धू एंड यादू सिंह कैन गो, बट देव सिद्धू, यादू सिंह एंड सुमन साहा कैन नॉट गो, क्योंकि वो 3 हो जाएंगे। तो पब्लिक हेल्थ ऑर्डर की आप पालन करिए और वैक्सीन लगवाइए और घर में रहिए, ये बहुत जरूरी है। हम इंडिया वाली माहौल यहाँ पे नहीं चाहते हैं, क्योंकि हमें याद है 3 महीने पहले क्या तबाही मची थी इंडिया में।
बिल्कुल सर, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर। और मेरा अगला सवाल है काउंसलर सुमन साहा जी से। सुमन जी, जैसे आपने बताया कि बहुत सारे खर्चे हैं, जब बुकिंग्स के रिफंड्स हैं काउंसिल की तरफ से आ रहे हैं, can we say that, consider that कि ये every council are doing that same or they should be doing the same?
मेरे को तो लगता है every council ये कर रहा है. I think every council is doing it, because if community is not using it, जो हमारा जो कम्युनिटी है जिसको उपयोग नहीं हो रहा है, तो काउंसिल से तो उसको रिफंड मिल जाएगा, एंड they will actually hear from council officers whether they will be giving an option, उसको ऑप्शन मिलेगा that you can rebook for a different time, और आपको रिफंड चाहिए तो उसको रिफंड भी मिल जाएगा.
That's great. So anyway, thank you so much again, Dr. Yadu Singh and Counselor Suman Saha ji, आप लोगों के टाइम के लिए. डॉक्टर साहब कुछ कहना चाहते हैं?
हाँ, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि जो वैक्सीन हमारे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में इस समय हैं, एक फाइजर की है, एक एस्ट्राजेनेका की है. तो जो नए नियम अभी आए हैं शनिवार को 2 दिन पहले, उनके आधार पे जो इम्यूनाइजेशन की जो बड़ी एक्सपर्ट कमेटी है, उसने साफ साफ कहा है कि 18 से ऊपर के आदमियों को, औरतों को, लोगों को वो वैक्सीन लगवाएं जो भी उनको मिलती है, चाहे वो फाइजर की हो, चाहे वो एस्ट्राजेनेका की हो. क्योंकि 92 to 94% आप बच जाते हैं वैक्सीन द्वारा डेथ होने से, आईसीयू में भर्ती होने से, या वेंटिलेटर के ट्रीटमेंट करवाने से. तो ये खतरनाक टाइप का जो बीमारी होती है उससे आप बचते हैं. तो कृपा करके सभी लोग 18 साल की उम्र के लोग जा करके वैक्सीन लगवाएं, जीपी के यहाँ, फार्मेसी के यहाँ, या पब्लिक जो सरकार ने बनाए हैं वैक्सीनेशन के हब्स में. बहुत जरूरी है. और साथ में याद रखें कि जो है सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग बनाए रखें और मास्क का यूज करें घर से बाहर निकलने में, और साथ में सारे रूल जो है न्यू साउथ वेल्स उनको पालन करें.
थैंक यू सर. सुमन जी कुछ कहना चाहते हैं?
हाँ, मैं ये बोलना चाहती हूँ, जो हमारा करंट जो कोविड-19 केस पेंडल हिल में हुआ है ना, तो उस बारे में कम्युनिटी इज बीट ऑरिड. तो मेरा कम्युनिटी से ये दरखास्त है जो, और अर्ज है, जो इफ यू फील लाइक यू आर नॉट फीलिंग वेल, you have any symptoms, go and get tested. और वेंटोसविल में बिल्कुल हमारा रेडगाम सेंटर के ऑपोजिट द कोविड क्लिनिक इज देयर, सो यू कैन वॉक इन एंड गेट टेस्टेड. तो मेरा ये अर्जी रहेगा, आप सबसे गो एंड गेट टेस्टेड इफ यू फील अनवेल, और इफ यू थिंक यू कैन बी अ क्लोज कॉन्टैक्ट, और घर में रहे, स्वस्थ रहे.
थैंक यू सो मच सुमन जी एंड डॉक्टर यादव जी आपके समय के लिए. और इसके साथ ही बहुत सारे हमें मैसेजेस आए हैं इनबॉक्स में, क्योंकि क्वेश्चंस हमें हमेशा आते हैं और वीडियो के बाद भी आते हैं. पीपल आर वाचिंग लाइव, सो जो भी कमेंट्स आपके सब लोगों के आए हैं हम इन लोगों के तक पहुंचा देंगे. आपको आंसर डायरेक्टली या तो हम पहुंचा देंगे या फिर आप इनसे डायरेक्टली इन टच हो सकते हैं. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच अगेन एंड लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू सी यू. थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब.